Welcome to the saga of the kryptonite life. When some of the days go wrong and then some of the days go right. Meaning life can make you weak, but we can walk you to the light. The life where dreams come true are just the nightmares of the hype. Where love and hate are roommates, pleasure and pain are friends. Peace and war and lovers, insane and insane are twins. Cause I want it all and nothing ain't enough for me. And all I need is love, but why y'all all up under me? Plus I would like to see every single lady's sex face. At the same time, man, I'm looking for my soulmate. I feel so religious, spirits living up above. But I gotta admit, I want my chariot with doves. And I could be your Superman and I could set you free. But honestly, I need the cash and I'm charging a fee for my cigarettes and water, my fruit juice and my alcohol, my salads and my pork chop. I got high cholesterol. Lois said she loved me, then she hit me up for child support. Lex baby mama ain't gon' never take his ass to court. Got me in this nightclub, trying to get my mind right. When she bent over, I was looking at my whole life. So once upon a time on a planet called Earth, a man dug in his pockets just to see what he was worth. Well, rabbit ears were more than Eric B. and Rakim. Then the infinite power that he was holding within got him kinda confused, obligated, misused. Got in front of a microphone a couple times and he spewed his whole guts. Some of the things he loved and some of the things he lost. Some of the funky hate, some of the funky trust. And thus mixtape became an album. Your first installment has started. You're welcome. What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving, man. So if you see the thumbnail, this kind of was inspired by me listening to YouTube videos. It wasn't kinda, it was inspired by this. Listening to D1 talk to Turk about rap. And then I listened to, I forgot what podcast that was, but Dr. Umar Johnson was talking about, you know, he was using Jay-Z as a reference. And then, you know, it ties into, I saw a few people online get kind of biblical. You get what I'm saying? And this is not anything that's just about Black America and us as Black people when it comes to dysfunction in religion. Because in America, pretty much, you know, that's what slavery was. It was dysfunction wrapped in religion. Excuse me, Jim Crow, all these other groups. You know, when you think about the old criminal mafia movies and depictions, they were just dysfunction wrapped in religion. When you think about the cartels, dysfunction wrapped in religion. So this is not like something that's just a Black thing, right? But I'm going to talk about this from a Black perspective at this particular point. Because what it looks like right now is hip hop culture and the church are the exact same thing. And what I mean by that is this. They both have this idea that you can do a lifetime of wrong and then turn around and get blessed by God, whether it be a talent or something that generates money, and it just washes away everything, and we just supposed to move on like nothing ever happened, right? And then the problem with that is the hypocrisy. Because you're supposed to be forgiven, and you know, God gave this person a talent, so we got to let it all go. God gave this person money, so we got to let it all go. But then if you do the exact same things that these people did, that they would say were the foundation to them becoming who they were, then all of a sudden, you know, you're an evil person. And this is where the confusion lies and the hypocrisy lies, because you see people who who made a choice in life not to do degenerate things. But when they point out degeneracy in our community, you see people play the, he who is without sin, can cast the first stone. I.e., if you never did any, unless you're a perfect person who never did anything, you shouldn't say anything. And it's like, no, that's the, and I'm gonna be extreme when I say this. That's like you saying a serial killer is not a good person, and the serial killer tells you, hey man, I know you sinned before, I know you stole a candy bar or something, so you can't tell me nothing about all the people that I killed. It's that bad. I heard you cuss before, so all the years I was dealing drugs, how you gonna say what I did was wrong with all that cussing you do? It's like, listen, man, we're gonna have to at some point, go old school and say right is right and wrong is wrong. All of this gray area, this, I can be an anti-hero, kind of belief, is just a belief. And the reason why I say it's a belief and really it's hypocritical is because what you're telling me is a bad person can turn good, right? And a good person can turn bad. But what happens if a bad person just is bad and stays bad, and a good person just stays good? Are they not supposed to be at odds? Because see, some people play this game that they're good now. I did a lot of wrong things in my past, but I'm good now. I'm a better person now. But in all actuality, they're still operating in that dysfunction. They may have made the dysfunction profitable. They may have made the dysfunction look better, gave it a better image, but it's still dysfunction. It's still degeneracy, right? And it's weird because one of the things that's problematic about this is in this work, this is in hip hop culture, also like the church. You can have a person who does a lifetime of good, but people gotta throw dirt on their name. It's gotta be something about them. You can make up something about them. Everybody could join in that, it's something that's gotta be bad about them. It doesn't have to be true, but people will believe it. But on the flip side of that, people will easily give you a redemption story. Easily give you a redemption story. And it's like, they bad and blah, blah, blah. It's like, nah, we got to stop this. And why am I bringing hip hop into this? It's because of this. And why am I bringing the black church into this? It's because of this forgiveness, redemption / villainizing somebody. This is a biblical story. Jesus was crucified, killed, and a murderer was let go, basically. You get what I'm saying? So the person that did good was killed. The person that did bad, he's not that bad. This is a human thing that's going on that keeps repeating itself. So here's the first thing. Because people like to blame hip hop for a lot of different things. So, and this is why I'm using it. People say, hey man, this gangster rap, now the women are debaucherous when they rapping, right? And the message is just dysfunction and degeneracy. But what people leave out is, back in the day, if you listen to that, you bought that music. You were seeking that music out. If it messed with your head,
I don't know how that was, but whatever. It's because you sought that out. And you played it and you replayed and you played it over and over. And if you gave yourself a persona, whatever. It's the same thing as now, where it's a lot of degeneracy out here in this music, but your playlist, you selected it. Your algorithm put the dysfunction in your, you put the dysfunction in your algorithm. So now we're going to play like, oh, that didn't happen, right? But the interesting thing about it is now we got to say, okay, these people, they're out here, they're out here and they're sending this bad message and they're making millions and millions of dollars, being a bad influence, and people are gravitating to being whatever that these other people said they were. And what I don't like personally is, don't clean it up now. Like, don't clean it up now. That's what I don't like. I don't like if you spent 15, 20 years saying you a gangster, saying you a drug dealer, saying you a hustler, saying you a scammer, saying you do all these things. Oh, don't hit 45, 50 and clean it up now. Oh, you know what I'm saying? That was me a long time ago. I've grown and I've learned. Stop it. Stop. All you're trying to do is, let me tone down my degeneracy to see if I could get money in a different way, because I can't be as crazy as I was back then, because it won't fly now. That's all that is. I'm getting older, I'm getting wise, I'm getting smarter. No, you just trying to play Mr. Nice Guy now, even though you're on some bull. And what happens? People forgive. People forgive. And it's like, okay, why are we so forgiving is the question. And here's what I'm gonna say that might be controversial, and I'm just using references. Just by the way, I'm just using references. Okay. There were a bunch of people who did who say things about people, right? So let's just use people who've been killed recently, and I can go from there and backwards. People will say that Pop Smoke or Nipsey Hussle, represented thug gangster culture. And they glorified thug gangster culture, but people let it slide because they were successful. You got to forgive them. You got to forgive, what I'm saying? Hey man, they turned the negative into a positive, look, okay, fine. And it's like, oh, okay, let me ask you a question though. So are you going to give that same amount of grace to the guy that shot Nipsey or the guys that set up and shot Pop Smoke? You going to give them that same amount of, grace where, hey man, they could turn it around and maybe be a rapper that talks about it and make money? See, that's where all of this stuff kind of bothers me about the hypocrisy of it. And this is the same thing I'll say with the church, right? Where the black church does this thing. Well, I was wayward and I was a backslider and I was a sinner and I was out here doing bad things. I was a womanizer, I was a drug user, I was a player, I was a pimp. That used to be the old thing, right? Or I was a hustler, but God found me and changed me and turned me into something anew. But then when you go into church, you feel it's kind of like, yo, you basically just using your street tactics in this church. I'm not even trying to hear it right now. But, but God changed you, right? Okay, no problem. No problem. So let me ask the question. Since God could change you and forgive you, what about that person that reminds you of you back then that you don't want to be around? because they make you uncomfortable. You think they might hustle you. You think they might scam you. You think they might rob you. They're not necessarily welcome in the church because, that's your kind, right? You ain't gonna let the pimp in to talk to the ladies in the church, are you? You ain't gonna let the drug dealer in to see if he can get some new customers because you don't trust what he is because, I remember I used to be like that, but you still like that though. And the most important part, is the most important part is this. The people in the church, because they have a past that was negative also, right? But they're the ones forgiving, and the problem, there's not a problem with forgiveness. There's a problem with stupidity. You can forgive a person. Like I've said this before a long, long time ago, and I believe this for all those who believe in God, for all those who believe in the God, heaven and hell. God forgave a lot, or forgives and has forgiven a lot of people. Okay, but everybody ain't going to heaven. Some of them forgiving people went to hell. Some of them people that God loved, like, hey, I love you, but hey, you got to go to hell. I know what you did. I forgave you for what you did. But your life's work, is you got to go to hell for that. Sorry. And people play this game where they act like that's not an option. Like it's not an option, but it's an option. It's definitely an option. So the reason why this is important is because, and I'm using it as a reference, that let's just say former sinners, former degenerates, in my opinion, are some of the most hypocritical people in the world, because they feel like they've been forgiven and God has blessed them and God has given them grace. But like, I'm gonna use some references, some hip hop references. Like, people could say that Boosie has a very, very degenerate past, right? But by the looks of things, financially, it's working out for him. And because it's working out for him, it's all good, right? But and I didn't agree with the way his daughter did him. I didn't. But some people could say, hey man, that's the least of your karma. You walking around here living good, man. After all the dirt you did, man, I'm just saying, like, if that's the biggest loss you got to take right now, you got to let off the hook. That's the type of thing that people don't want to talk about. It's the same thing, like I said, when people in church, and I use, Eddie Long, he passed away, of course, at New Birth. And then I want to say now Jamal Bryant is the head pastor at New Birth. And, as far as scandal goes, it just went from, one scandal to another scandal. But the people in the church, they got to love it, right? They got to be like, hey, man, he's a man of God. And this is the issue with hip hop culture and the black church. People believe that you can be when you become successful. God did it. God made you successful, even though you were let's just say a degenerate. God showed his grace and mercy on you, even though you was a degenerate. Here's the problem with that. There is no balance because people are not saying, God, bless this person who did good for the majority of their life, or did good all of their life. People are not here saying that, man, God looking out, dog. That person deserves it after all the stuff that they've done that was right and all the stuff that they've been through. Like, using the Bible, people will say that there is, it's sad, but if you're considered a quote unquote good person, it's like you got to go through the story of Job, or you got to go through the story of Joseph. Like, it's all of this unnecessary persecution, right? But on the other hand, you got all of these people who are doing all the wrong things, and somehow they wound up on the, let's just say, the good side of things. And it doesn't look right. The same way I would say Black America looks at white America like, wow, y'all go to church, y'all praise God, y'all say y'all Christians and you love God, but your history and your actions really are the complete opposite of this stuff you say you worship. And then it makes us look at religion like, wait, well, we serving the same God, and y'all really screwing us over every day, and they getting away, and God is blessing them, and God is persecuting us. So if we turn around and we start doing this to them, would that mean God is going to be on our side now? It's like it becomes a twisted thought process, because now we equate, God with material possession. You know what I'm saying? So if I deal drugs and I wind up in a mansion, God was looking out. You know what I'm saying? If I'm a hitman, and I made millions, killing people, and I was able to, buy, have a nice little retirement at an early age. Oh, look at God. Like, it's like, wait a minute now. People act like the devil doesn't give people success too. Like, that's how perverted it's got. And that's the issue with what I would say with hip hop culture in the Black church. We act like the devil don't exist. It used to be, if anything bad happened, that ain't nothing but the devil. Now, ironically, people blame the devil for their own decisions. You get what I'm saying? People went on a coke binge, and it was nothing but the devil that got me to get in my car and go to the bank and get all that money and go to, go to the trap and get that man that cash for that dope, and then get in my car and drive off and get in the house and smoke it and snort it and binge and act crazy. That was nothing but the devil. No, that was all you, Playboy. That was all you. But that's the whole process. Now, when I was listening to part of the video with D1 and Turk talking about, the messaging of hip hop, right? The messaging of hip hop. And Turk said, everybody don't grow at the same page. So if people are listening to my old music, and and even if I'm a changed person, and I still make the same type of music I made prior, I'm doing that because it helps me get to the bag, but I'm a different person. That's what I meant earlier when I said you're not. Because you can't tell me. That's like me saying, I was once a thief, right? And I got a lot of stuff for being a thief, but then I got caught up for being a thief, and I figured out how to be a better thief. But I ain't gonna. But I'm not a thief right now, right? But then I got back into the free world, and I was like, listen, man. I'ma still operate like a thief. You know what I'm saying? But I'm doing that for a greater good. It's like, cut it out. Cut it out. You know, but I've changed. So you've changed. Yeah, I don't steal those things. I steal those things now. It's different. It's like, no, it's not, bro. You still a thief. You still, that's what you are, and that's what you're gonna be. But you don't want to be viewed as that. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times, that's the same issue with the church. You was one like oh boy. You was once like the lady was once the town thought, you know what I'm saying? And then she found God, and then she I'm not a thought no more, but she in church, still kind of doing thought type stuff, because that's who she is. That's her urge. So now she's advertising. She was advertising in a strip club type of way. She was advertising in a prostitute type of way in the streets. But now she in the church. She just put more clothes, and now she advertising in the holy way. But she advertising still. She's still looking for the eyes, looking for the attention. Looking for the people who willing to spend their money. Looking for the people who want a quote unquote fellowship. It's not any different. It just looks different. It's in a different building. It has a different outfit, but it's the same thing. And then people go, oh, she's look at her. She out here thotting in the church, and it's like, but she thotting in the church with y'all though. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes we all fall short of the glory of God. Oh man. So, like, when I'm talking about degeneracy and pushing degeneracy, this is one interesting thing about it. And I'm gonna make another reference. What I see with hip hop culture in the black church is basically the equivalent to a guy who's a criminal who gets locked up, and then when he's in jail, all of a sudden he like men now. But then he get out into the world, and he, oh man, you know what I'm saying? What the bro is at? And people like, bro, nah. We're not playing this game with you, dude. You like dudes. No, man. It's jail, man. Jail is different from the world. No. You was locked up for 2-3 years, and now you were getting bent over. That's who you are. Now you're gonna be out in the free world acting like you something different. Stop. That's what it is, the equivalent of. But once again, you got to go back to this whole forgiveness thing, right? God could bless you. God could bless this person, and God could bless that person. And I'm going to tell you, part of the reason why young kids, and like, do I want to be an athlete, rapper, actor kind of thing, is because it's looked at as, you're gonna get blessed. That's what it is looked at like, God favored you, like, and to the point where people just skip over the work people put in, and people sometimes don't gravitate to just to let's just say business entrepreneurship in that same way, because, in some ways we look at America's racism as the overarching devil. Like, God has his hands on sports and entertainment, but, the devil has his hands on business, so we can't do that right now. That type of thing. And I get the ideology, But this becomes a problem. It's the same thing. Like, let's just be honest. It's the same thing. The same issue applies to YouTube. There are a lot of people who are content creators, but the most recognizable content creators, I'm not going to say just, that's a little bit extra when I said that, but there are a whole gang of content creators on YouTube who blew up, who were just on some degenerate bull, whether they were trolling, whether they were pranking, whether they were just talking all kinds of reckless and doing all, whether they were disrespectful, whether they were lying on, being manipulative, but people gravitate to that. Oh, what are they going to say today? What are they going to do today? And, you're slowly starting to see the issue with that, because you see how people got tired of all of the pranks. Like, okay, you're going to get yourself beat up and shot up, y'all, because y'all went outside looking for views. You want to play basketball and smack people. You better be careful because you're going to get hurt. That's going to be on camera too. You get what I'm saying? You saw the people who were trolling other people, like people got mad at, Candace Owens for being a sellout or a troll. But then all of a sudden you see how times change and people go, you was talking all that about all them other people. But when you talked about somebody else, they threw you under the bus and you ain't got nothing to say. You get what I'm saying? Like people liked or still like Fresh and Fit, right? And now people are calling them out like, you're doing the exact same thing you've been telling us not to do all these years. And it's like, but dude, the issue isn't that they're doing this stuff. The issue is they've been doing it in front of your face the whole time and you've been gravitating to it. They're trying to figure out what changed. You see what I'm saying? And that's why people say people lose their audience or whatever, or gain an audience, because a lot of people like drama and controversy, even though they don't want to admit it. So it becomes a huge problem. And this is what I mean by hip hop culture in the Black church, because there are two things that hip hop culture and the Black church have very much so in common. The truth doesn't get as much attention. See, it's hard to find a hip hop artist that people like that's not really doing all the BS. They're not on the murder, kill, drugs, blah, blah, blah. They're not on the, she using her box to screw everybody. Like people they're not gravitating to that, right? And that's the same thing with the church. The church got to lie to you, make it sound fly to you. The church can't tell you fire and brimstone. The church can't tell you truth, because guess what? I ain't coming to the church. I can't come to the church. It's too honest. Or, where this thing has another issue is this. Hip hop culture and the Black church have a fundamental problem in lack of accountability, because hip hop could say somebody else is an enemy, somebody else is an op. The church could say somebody else in your life, is the demon person, but you won't say it's you. You get what I'm saying? Hip hop culture won't, like it's just like hip hop culture. I got ops, and it's like, bro, if you got ops, you doing something. Don't act like you just walk to this corner store to get some chips, and the soda, and all of a sudden people shooting at you. No, you got ops because you out in these streets doing the most. You out here pulling guns on people, sucker punching people, robbing people, and then you gonna wake up, I got ops. No. You're other people op. You did something to them, and now they gonna get you back. That's what that is. It's the same thing in the church. When they preach about these people out here, they'll drag you down, they'll use you, they'll manipulate you. You're doing the best you can, but they're trying to take you down. And it's like, whoa. What if you the user and manipulator? You wouldn't be the first person who used God and religion to get over as a hustle on somebody. Oh, no, 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 no. You wouldn't be the first person to use, the idea of forgiveness to get over on somebody, the idea of, mercy to get over on somebody. No, 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 no. See, that's where we have an issue. Like I said, the hip hop culture and the black church, they skip over that. They skip over maybe you're the cause of your issues. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when I brought this up early, talking about like other groups have done this. What is that? It's the Godfather. I want to say which one. Al Pacino played the son that wound up being a Don, right? And on the last Godfather, I think his daughter got killed, like outside of a church or something like that, a church or was it a law building or whatever, like downtown? I think it was a church though. And he broke down crying. He was he was just crying. And then Andy Garcia was in the movie. Like, I don't know if he's a nephew or cousin, I forgot, but he was trying to take over. So he's sitting there like, Al Pacino, like, I'm quitting, I'm out. I thought they took my baby. And Andy Garcia looking like, hey man, am I taking over now? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, your baby got killed. So what? Because, and I forgot the other movie I was watching. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, there's another movie I was watching years ago. It's a movie or a show. And a guy, he was like a mob boss or whatever. And he said, they went after like my wife or kids or family. And the guy looked at him, he said, and? You know how many people's wives and family you killed? Like, what are you talking about? They went after yours, they killed yours. So what? Like, you're not above this. And he killed him subsequently, right? So this is this idea that you see, when it comes to hip hop culture and the black church, this idea that it's everybody else in the world, but it's not me. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, glorifying, I'm out here doing all of these things, but, oh, God is protecting me. God's got a covering over me. And it's like, no. No, be careful about that. Sometimes in life, people forget a very, very important lesson. Uh-oh. My dog about to cut up. And that important lesson is this. Do unto others as you want others to do to you. She was killed outside the theater. Thank you. Thank you. Y'all can hear that. My dog he about to stop. But so now we at this point where, people are doing stuff to everybody else, but then they act like, oh, it can't be, it can't happen to me. And it's like, no. It can happen to you. It absolutely can. And it will, and it should. And now we're at that point where we got to talk about the culture. And we got to talk about both cultures and how they together. Hold on for a second. Yeah, my dog does that when somebody comes in the house. So excuse that. But we got to talk about how at a certain point, we got to stop acting like we're above it all. And this is what I mean, the hip hop culture and the black church, because it spills over into our society that has nothing to do with hip hop or church. It spills over out into, kids going to school and thinking they could just say and do anything. And then, and then they wind up failing the class or I'm gonna go play sports, but I'm gonna show up when I feel like it. And then they get cut and then they'll act like they don't know why. You get what I'm saying? This idea that you got all of these chances, this belief that, hey man, I got something great inside of me. Should I say that? Can I say that without saying pause? I don't know. But God gave me this gift. So with this gift, I'm gonna just act like I ain't got no sense. And everybody else gonna have to just deal with it, because confidence has become the ability to be a jerk and get people to forgive you because you can convince them that you're good at something. What's happening? But what winds up happening over time is people get tired of your BS, because a lot of times you don't have to be a bad person to be talented. You don't have to be a bad person to quote unquote be blessed. You don't have to be a bad person. You don't have to put yourself in a position to need forgiveness and grace in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Some people create their own chaos because they think, the chaos made me a better person. But the problem is, you didn't just create chaos for yourself. You created chaos for everybody around you. And if you feel like you became a better person off of the chaos, that don't mean the people that you brought chaos to are better people now. They just got to deal with your mess. And that's the one thing that, people, the hip hop culture and the black church, that's not the one thing, but that's another thing that they have in common. That, I could just make a mess over here and just walk away. This idea that God gonna have it, God gonna deal with it, God gonna figure it out, God gonna fix it. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with, the streets gonna handle it. Well, who are all of these, like, just all of these, just ambiguous people and figures just gonna come out of the blue and just fix all of this BS that you've created? And it doesn't make sense. And like I said, we don't give the same passes. Like, and I hate to use it this way, but when Biggie made a lot of references to killing people, but the guy who killed him, he's not gonna be celebrated like Biggie. When they made a movie, that guy was just an unknown villain. You get what I'm saying? So you spoke about doing all of this stuff. You spoke about killing folks and kidnapping people, kids, and what was the thing he talked about? Sleeping with people's wives and all that other stuff, and it was cool, and getting high and all that other stuff. So, but the dude that did that to Big, of course, he's not going to be celebrated, right? He could have been out here getting high and messing with people's wives, and obviously he was killing folks. But it's not, now it's not a big deal because Biggie was a hero because he was a rapper. It's like, did he make great music? Absolutely. But, be careful when you let one thing go, but this you glorify, but this you go, that's wrong. It's like, it's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. Be careful about that. It's the same exact thing. So this is where, for me, hip hop culture and the black church has an issue, because once again, the forgiveness is hypocritical. And why I'm saying the forgiveness is hypocritical is because, as I stated earlier, and I'm gonna use this hip hop as a reference. Will Smith is a rapper, right? And for years, people have been saying he got a boy, he's gay, or him and his wife is swingers, and he's been cheating forever. That's been going on for years, but you really no concrete evidence. But that's been going on for years. And when I look at Will Smith is definitely one of the most successful rappers ever, right? But they had to throw dirt on him. That's got to be part of it because he's too clean. But then, we love Snoop, and he could be crip walking in the Olympics and smoking weed and everywhere, right? Let me buy. I'm gonna sell you some wine. I'm gonna sell you some alcohol. We're gonna smoke some kush. We're gonna bring the gang culture into equestrians. And it's like, and everybody go, man, that's Uncle Snoop. And it's like, do y'all get the hypocrisy in this? Because part of this is you have got to have a history of doing what is quote unquote bad things to be considered a good person. The idea of, I did all this bad stuff, but I got a good heart. But then you say this other person, they did all this good stuff, but they gotta have a bad heart. They can't be just good because. And it's like, this is ridiculous. And I'm not gonna say, like, I'm gonna tell you, this is the thing. I'm not gonna say somebody who has committed bad acts doesn't have some good in them. And I'm not gonna say somebody who does a lot of good things doesn't have some bad in them. But what I'm gonna say is this. It's a choice either way. And I don't understand how people get upset that people choose to do good things, even though their mind could have told them to do something else, or their heart could have told them to do something else, but they made the choice. And people go, well, that person ain't being honest. It's like, actually, they are being honest. If they feel like they're a good person and they're going to stick to the principles of being good, they're going to do good even if, they feel otherwise. But then you say, this person does bad things, but they're a good person because they got a good heart. And it's like, but their actions all are bad. I ain't gonna say they all, but they choose to do the wrong thing over and over and over again. And one of the major reasons I got to talk about something like this is this. At this particular juncture in life, I'm seeing far too many people choose to do the wrong thing and use God as a reference. Use forgiveness as a reference. Look, man, if you out here doing all the wrong stuff, I don't want to hear you crying. I don't. Keep that to yourself. I don't want to hear you begging for forgiveness. Keep that to yourself. I don't want to hear you say you're going to get it right the next time you need another chance. Keep it to yourself. Because what you see out here is people are doing wrong, and they smiling and laughing and giggling about it, and then they get caught and they crying about it, and then 5, 10, 20 years later they telling all these stories online about how it was so entertaining and fun and it was cool, and they cracking jokes about it now. So which means all of that crying in the middle was just a hustle. So I don't want to believe it. So part of that issue is, hey man, at the end of the day, people got to get at you. Because good people and bad people fight. Just for the record, that's what the whole God and the devil, heaven and hell thing's for. It's a fight. And that's one of the other issues about this, the hip hop culture and the black church is the idea that you can't be a good person and fight somebody that's a bad person. You're too good to fight. It's like, no, that's not true. That's not true. Like when you hear people talk online, hey man, you gotta, you can't talk to people in a manner that makes people feel like they're beneath you. And it's like, dog, but you can talk to people in a manner that's the same thing. You could tell people how much of a killer you are, how F their life and F their family, and you do this to them and you do that. You'll take their chick and you'll steal their car and you'll beat them upside the head. Oh, but if I tell you that, hey dog, you a scumbag. You can't talk to me like that because, what I'm saying, I can't take that. You don't know what I'm going to do. I don't care what you, well, guess what? Do it. Do it. Try it. Try it. Try to be the tough guy that you point out to the world that's just crossing all these people with me. Try it. But you're a good person. You're not supposed to fight back, Bush. That's the problem that I see with all of this stuff. But, I'm going to get up out of here, man. It was on my mind, so I wanted to address it. So catch y'all on the next one. Like, share, subscribe. Peace.
It looks like a job for Superman.
Spoken from the lips of the young or the old, fear of me. Yeah, gotta put it all in. And they are Superman all the way. I guess I'm taking off the cake through the glasses in the trash. Being super is great, saving y'all is such a drag. Even God took a break, me I ain't coming back. I got one life to live, if you don't like it, that's your ass. Cause nobody saved me, plus when I'm drunk, I'm just a peon. I could use somebody just like I'm the kings of neon. This world is cold as ice, mixed mixed with salt, mixed with Freon. They got me pissed off, but that's better than being peed on. For eons, human beings took kindness for weakness. When you constipated, you start to appreciate shit. Put before you life and death, and you just gotta choose. The kryptonite life means you should follow the rules. If your credit's messed up or your bills ain't paid, then it's getting disconnected. Can't nobody say the day. And I can fly, leave a building in a single bound, but I can't stand fair weather friends, and I just fly around. My super friends in Justice League, only folk I kick it with. Kill Lex Luthor, so what? We had to finish it. Kids play games and adults play for keeps, and me, I play to win, but I ain't playing in these streets. And life is not a joke, then again it ain't this serious. Superman can say the day, but God can say the Superman. Saga of the kryptonite, life just ended. You enjoy listening? Man, I finished it. Lois, come holler at me. I got an ice couch. Thank you for coming out, listening. I knew you would like it because we made it. I'm so frigid and so fly.